All right, welcome. This is workshop number 4 of 6 workshop of the reconnection with your inner wisdom. Today topic it's about energy, frequency, vibration, and everything that is related to that. Not only energetics, but also the elements, which is something that we started touching last workshop. We spoke about the elements and how they related to us as people, as bodies. And so today we're going to dive in more about that. I'm going to just pause the music for now. And as usual, I'm going to start just saying that this workshop series is based in my own experience, my own inner healing, my own exploration, everything that I have been learning in the past 6 years or around that. Even though I always been curious with energy and all these witchy topics and just really open-minded, I was never really diving into it too much. I was curious. I would go there for a little bit and then I would just go back to my normal life, forget about it. It was always, just something that it was on the back of my head. And then a few years ago, and thanks to the pandemic, actually, I started diving in more into that because I was having the time to be at home and just within myself and just really exploring. And that just opened up a new world for me. And I will tell more about when we start talking about like programs and how to learn and Reiki and access and all these different modalities that now are just really a contribution to my life, to a lot of people that I know. First of all, I wanted to know if you had a chance to do any practice of mindfulness during the week, because last week we spoke about how to meditate and how to do mindfulness or how to incorporate that into our life. So if you haven't done it, it's all good. It's just to create a bit of awareness of like how can you start just incorporating that a little bit into your, not every day, but maybe every week, just trying to be more mindful in what you do, maybe how you eat or when you go for a walk, or just remembering to go into the bathroom instead of just working for like 4 hours straight and not realizing that you haven't connected with your body. So if you're interested to know about that, that was last session. It was all about the bodies. Okay, so another thing that I want to say is that I work with energy. So every time, if you've seen the previous workshops, I start clearing the energy of this session, especially this one, because I'm going to touch into topics that if you grew up in a specific place or city or family, it might sound like a bit out there about like witchy stuff, movie like things that you'd never seen, or things that maybe you learned that they were strange and very foreign and just weird. Just to remind you that the word weird comes from the Old English wise, which is wisdom. And when you are wise, it's because you're connected with your true nature, with the elements, with nature. Just over the time, and thanks to, something called the patriarchy, just a lot of the words that are related to nature, they just started having a different charge. So instead of being something positive, it just changed to something dysfunctional that now is considered strange or weird. But now we're trying to, share information that just going to open up your mind. As I said, you grab whatever resonates with you. If you think this is something that interests you, go for it. Do your own investigation, read books, go online and find out your own find your own knowledge, your own information. But if not, just let it go. So I'm going to start clearing the energy. So every expectations, limitations, projections, implant, eggplant, explants that you have about any energetic topic, anything that sounds strange or witchy or foreign, let's just destroy and create all that. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and poke, or not sure, both poverty and beyonds. And anything that you think or you have a point of view about what we're going to talk about, let's just leave it on the side, and just be open to receiving the information. Maybe it will be some clarification for you, and you finally will understand, oh, that's why they have those things, or that's why I've seen those, or in different locations, because a lot of the times through history, people were afraid of what they don't know. So if they go to a place and they don't understand why people do what they do, there's three things that happen. One, they get scared straight away. Two, they get violent and they want to get rid of all that because they don't know what it is. And the third one, they would just ignore it. So any of the three things could happen. It's not right or wrong, and everything that is bringing that energy, let's destroy and then create that as well. Right, wrong, good and bad, but and pok, or not sure, poets and beyonds. And what I do is clearing with the access consciousness clearing statement, which is one of the modalities that I offer, to just remove belief system, remove all patterns that we carry over the years, and it just does not serve us anymore, of things that for years we've been trying to move on from that, and for whatever reason we just go back to the same. And so sometimes that happens just because we just used to it, and our mind is really, really ingrained and attached to those thoughts or those beliefs. So sometimes we just need a little bit extra help to just try to move on from that. Yeah, so that was just the sort of like that disclaimer part of the workshop. Okay, so what is energy? You can write it in the little text box. Are you familiar with what's energy work or energy in general, or anything like that? Good. I mean, it's not good or bad. It's like I'm happy. Okay. Are you It's good that it's nice to know that there's this new realm that is being I guess it's getting more popular over the last few years. I feel like since maybe the last 3 years is being popping here and there. A lot of people allowed us to just start exploring something that it's not familiar. And so just to clarify that this has always been around. It's not a new thing. It's not that because science or TV shows or famous people have started to talk about it, words like consciousness, like meditation, like energy, like frequency, vibration, vibes, like you say, we tend to use that slang. It's not that it's a new thing. This has existed since humans were around, and even before humans were around, because everything that is around us has energy. Everything that it's alive, like animals and plants and people, but also elements like stones and mountains and rocks, and basically everything that is around has energy. And I'm just going to explain two different things, because when people talk about energy, you usually go to like energy healing or Reiki or that sort of energy. But just to understand the basics, energy, I'm talking about the spark of light that every single element that it's around us has within their structure. So if you go, and I think I mentioned something like this in the previous workshop, that if you take anything that is around you, including a cup or a table or anything under the microscope, and you start checking out what is this made of, and you go and you start going in and in and in, you go to the basics and the molecules and the protons and neutrons, and then at some point they cannot go further because it just becomes light. And that's what I mean by energy, that everything has energy. The only difference is that the structure is being created in a different way. So that's why to the naked eye, they look different. But if we go and, quantum physics, they talk about this all the time. If you read studies about that, everything is made of the same, which is pure light and pure energy. So that's the basic of why everything is energy, because everything is made of the same. It's just that it looks different to the eye. Is that clear? That was the basic of the basic. And so then if we talk about the energetics, that's like going into us people. Why? Because we have a body, as we talked last workshop, and then before we're talking about the mind, the brain, and all that stuff. So that doesn't mean that we finish in like, this is our body, and then here, this is not us anymore. It's like the ether, or like this space. Our energetic bodies, they could be as big as like 5 meters around us. So if you can imagine like 5 meters and then a circle, like a sphere around us, that's how big we are. Sometimes, if depending of your vibration and how you're feeling, this sphere, it will be contracted and it will be smaller, or it can be even more expansive, which is I can't remember which workshop we did the expansion exercise, and it was just touching on that, because that tells you that we as humans, we think that we are limited by this body, and everything that is outside is not us anymore. But that's not correct. Actually, every time that we go to a place, if you imagine that we are like 5 meters, like a sphere walking around, you're constantly touching other people's energies. You're constantly rubbing other vibration, other frequencies. When you go to a mall, shopping centers, concerts, it's like everything becomes one, if you want to think like a vortex of energy. That's why a lot of people that are more sensible to energetics, and they are called the empath, they can perceive that if you go to a place that it feels quite dense, the people are sad, or annoyed or grumpy, usually if you go into these places, you picked up on that. Not because you are grumpy, it's just because your environment is like that. So that sometimes happens when you are working at a place that everything feels really dense and everything is unhappy, or they are not happy with whatever is happening in their environment. They tend to absorb that. And then the funny thing is that because we are energetic beings, then you absorb that, and then you go to visit your friend, or you go home, and then you're bringing all that stuff with you. And so that's the amazing thing in one way, that you can carry the energy. But the other thing is that if you don't know how to control it and how to clear it, or how to not being don't feel attached to that, then it can be a bit uncomfortable to have this with you that is not even yours. So there's something really interesting that I think that is just getting really trendy at the moment. A lot of people talk about like frequency or vibration and energy. So all these three concepts are quite attached to each other. Why? Because you have an energy field, which is this sphere that I was talking about. And then you have your frequency and your vibration. So the vibration is that this, let's say I'm really happy and joyful. So you just vibrating this frequency. So it's like if you imagine like a wave in a radio station, you're like an antenna. Actually, that's perfect description. You're like an antenna. And so you're constantly emanating these vibes like a wave. And so if you're happy and joyful, every time that you go to a place, you're vibing with that energy. So then sometimes you meet people and you're like, oh my God, I love to be with this person because it's like has such a good vibe. It's like peaceful or happy or positive. And it's like because it's emanating this type of energy in their energy field. And so when you are with this type of people, you feel safe, you feel happy, you feel that you can be yourself, you feel comfortable. Then sometimes this person can be, oh, I'm not too happy today. So then the energy field shrinks and it just changes in vibration. So now it's not as joyful as it usually is, or it's just different. Or sometimes you can perceive it like when you know someone that is usually this way, and then suddenly you meet this person and then it's just vibing in a different way. And you can tell in their body language, you can tell in the way they speak, how they're moving. It's just something that you get. And why you getting? Because, as I said, we are all spheres of energy. So when you touch in the energy of someone else, you can actually perceive what is wrong. Sometimes that happens with our partners. We get to know them so well that as long as you know exactly when they are grumpy or when they are not in a good mood, because you perceiving that. And that goes to what I was talking last Friday about the body and how we perceive the energy of other people. Not because they are not touching our bodies or you don't hugging the person, you can actually perceive that. Sometimes you can even perceive it by the vibration of the voice, because our voice carry also vibration, and I will go into sound in a bit. You can actually perceive that as well. You can know when someone is a shy person, or when someone is really happy, or when someone is grumpy, just by listening to the voice. Sometimes you talk on the phone with someone, even could be your parents or your family in the other side of the world, and you listen and you know that there's like something different. That's because your antenna is just picking up the vibes. The only difference is that we are not used to hearing this concept, and we're not used to being familiar. No one, in school, no one told us that, this is energy, and your body is this, and this is your energetic body, and you can perceive other people. It's like when you see little babies or little kids in kindy. This is a great example. And one is sad and start crying, and then suddenly all five are crying. Usually because they pick up in their emotion of the other one. So they just go, they don't know how to control their emotions. So it's like an orchestra of this same vibration and frequency. Now, another thing that I wanted to explain is that the fact that let's say you get up and you had an issue and you feel, I don't know, sad for whatever reason, doesn't mean that cannot be changed. Sometimes we go into the victim mindset, but we have spoken about that before, and you just don't know how to get rid of that. You're like sad and feeling down, and you're like, oh my God. And you know that you're just like in this cloud that you don't like, you want to get rid of or clear that. And so it's possible to release that energy and change it. And that's when Reiki or energy healing or any other tools like theta healing or access consciousness or anything really, even nature, we talk about that in a minute as well. It's good for renewing your energy. And why is that? Because as I said, everything has a vibration. Energy healers, they have been trained to neutralize vibrations and frequencies. So when they work with people that they are misaligned, or they feel heavy, or they are just not feeling right for whatever reason, stress maybe at work or life, they are able to neutralize that energy, perceive what is not aligned, and then work with that and then transmute that energy. And that's why people usually arrive to a session for, call it Reiki or chakra alignment or any of those things. And then by the time the session finished, they feel like a new person. They feel completely relaxed. They feel like something, they don't understand what happened there in the session. A lot of the time you feel like, I don't know why some of my clients say, I don't know what I did. I don't know where I went during the session, but I just feel something changed. And so that's because they go into a state of being that the practitioner can work with the energy and shift it and change it. So then by the time the session finished, they feel like a new person, quote unquote. It's not that they have changed, but the energy field have changed. So if you think that the energy is in everything, and if your energy field is able to change, so that is going to go and change your body as well. The way your body feels, the way your body reacts to your environment. Something important about energy to recognize is that usually if there's something that is imbalance in your energy field, it will always be first outside of you. If there's like an imbalance of I don't know, anything, even prior to a disease or anything that is not balanced within your body, it starts with your energy field. And then if that lasts a really long time and it's just you don't know how to change it or you can't change it or whatever happens, that stays a long time and then it can go into your physical body. And that's what a lot of practitioners, they work with the emotions, because sometimes the energy linked to an emotion is being stuck in your body. And so that's when it manifests into like, oh, I have this super weird pain on my shoulders, or I have pain in my knees. And this is for you to just have an open mind and just think that there's always the physical body, of course, and you can, explore that and go to the doctor and all that. But it could happen that there's the energy field as well, that you can explore that. And I have heard hundreds of stories of people that they did everything in this doctor or that doctor, and then when they started exploring within themselves their emotions, or started doing therapy or started exploring healing techniques or their own healing of their own wounds from childhood or from sad stories that they lived, the energy field start changing. And so the body start looking better. There's something different in their faces. There's the way they perceive their environment is different. The way they talk is different. It's just you can perceive that they have changed. And that is linked to the energy field, because if the energy change, the body, the physical part of their bodies, it would change as well. I hope that makes sense and I didn't go around too much. Another thing that is really interesting with energy is that, as I mentioned before, it's about the vibration of the voice, for example, and that's linked to the sound. So then, I don't know if you're familiar with sound healing or crystal bowls or Tibetan bowls, or you've seen people that hold a bowl and make beautiful sound with it. No, I could have brought mine. Actually, I have quite a few over there. So that again is touching into the vibration of a specific part and resonance within your body. And just to understand, are you familiar with the energy centers of chakra system? Just say no? Okay. So I was talking about the energy field, right? So within our bodies and our energetic bodies, we have 7 chakras. Chakra is a word from Sanskrit, which is the old language of India. In English, it's called energy center. So basically, the body has 7 energy centers. There's one that is called the root chakra, which is basically where your genital area is red. And an energy center is basically like a spiral of energy that is always moving. That's the root chakra. Then you have the sacral chakra, which is the color that is linked to that is orange, and it sits just below your belly button. That's another one. Then you go higher and you have the one that is in the solar plexus, which is just like here, like just above around your stomach area. So that is called the plexus, the solar plexus, and the color linked to that is green. And that, for example, is linked to gut feeling. When if you heard stories of like people having this really bad feeling, I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I just perceive something is not right. That's usually is linked to the solar plexus, which is located there. If you keep going higher, it's the heart center. The color linked to that is is yellow, the heart. And then we have the throat, which is light blue. And that, for example, if you work with energy, there's a lot of people that have blockages in different chakras. One that is very common is the throat chakra blockage. And what that means is that it's people that during their life, they were not able to say the truth, or They had to hold a lot of emotion. They couldn't talk. So that usually is linked to the chakra here in the throat. I, for example, had to do a lot of chakra healing in the throat because when I started my business, the light arts, I wanted to start talking to people and recording videos and doing things like that. And the first few times that I wanted to do it, I just couldn't do it. I would be with the camera in front of me, ready to, I knew what I wanted to say, and then nothing would come out of my mouth. And so when I started exploring, I realized that it was my energy center here. It was very contracted. As we spoke, when your energy is expansive, it's big. So you're open and it's flowing. But then if it's not, sometimes it flows really slowly and sometimes it just doesn't even move. So it's just like blocked, stopped. So it's not flowing. The energy is not flowing. And then you go to the one in the third eye, which is in this area, and that's indigo, blue. And then the crown, which is like about, I don't know, like a hand higher than your head. And that is called the crown, which is linked to the cosmos. So it's like, for example, people that are mediums or psychics or people that channel information is because the crown is really open. So they are able to receive information that is not from the physical world, like people world, but they can access different dimensions, different energies that we cannot see with our eyes. Over history, we have learned, sadly, that all these individuals that are able to do that, they are like strange or weird or witches or wizards, and they're like, you have to be scared of them. And maybe it's thanks to the media and movies, and everything that we have learned since we were kids. But like everything is neutral. So you don't have to put a label that it's something good or something bad, only because they put a name like wizard or witch or strange person, or you think that they are like strange looking people. Because sometimes you talk to people and they're like the loveliest and the nicest, and then they tell you, yeah, I'm a witch. And you're like, oh, I remember the first time I met witches, I was like, this is so cool. This is completely different to what, you have learned through your life, because you grew up with this story that they are like strange looking, or they have huge noses with a massive mole, like the dark, hoodie, like in the Disney movies. And that's just the media trying to, hide. And that's part of a different story, but they're trying to hide the power that nature has for us humans. So if you are scared of something, what do? You ignore it. You don't want to know about it. You want to forget that exists because it's scary. You don't want to go there. But what happens when you start diving into those realms and you understanding, oh, this is what they do. This is not bad. It's not strange, or it's not dark. It's from nature, actually. And later I'm going to show you a few elements that are considered like witch related, but they are basically just nature. And you probably have them at home, but you just never realize that only by having them at home, you are already attached to nature and the wisdom of nature, which is being a witch. A lot of people think that, oh, I have nothing like that, or I don't have altars at home. And then you realize that when you understand what it is, your whole apartment or your whole house is full of altars, and you have no idea that they are. Do you have any questions so far? Or you want, because I'm going to move on into something different and to energy healing, but I just wanted to know if you have any questions about what I have said so far. Oh, you're good. You're good? All right. Okay, so just to finalize the part of the chakra system, which is the wheels of energy. So when you work with someone that is called a sound healer, or you go to a sound bath, or something real, or you hear like these sounds of and I'm going to record a video and put it in the WhatsApp group, so you understand what I mean by sound. So when you go to places that they work with sound, you will see that they actually have 7 different crystal bowls, and each bowl, each instrument work with one energy center. So if you listen to those sounds, because it's not a song, it's just sound that is tuned to your energy center. So then the energy center will start moving and flowing the way it's meant to do it. So if it's stopped by you work with sound, you have the ability to open up that center and start letting the energy flowing, because you have to imagine them like spirals. Imagine that you have, if you close your eyes and imagine that you just have 7 spirals that are always moving. And it's not like just only at the front of your body, they actually go through your body. It's like a spiral of energy. And so when the idea is that when you ground yourself on earth, or you put your feet there, and then you're connected, then your energy center are spiraling, they're moving, and then go to your crown, and they are connected to the cosmos as well. So that's when you are grounded and you are connected. People that work with psychics, they can talk to different dimensions or frequencies, or people that are not here anymore, they are very connected to that crown chakra. That's how they can receive, like, it's almost like a transmission that they just tune into the radio station that is for that. As I spoke before, is like the frequency is almost like a radio station. So we are always in this frequency, which is this real world, when everything exists and we see everything and we go to work and live our lives. So this is like this frequency in the radio station number 1, for example. And so if you start changing your frequency for, I don't know, like a low vibration or a higher vibration, it's almost like you are changing the dial in your radio, and you're going from where you were here and you're moving a little bit further there. And so you are aligned now to different frequencies. It's when, for example, you used to have a group of friends and you get along, you do things together. That's because you vibe in the same way. You all are the same frequency. And then suddenly someone start changing for whatever reason. And then it could happen that you start you're just not hanging out with those people anymore. It's not that you had a fight, it's not that something happened, it's just natural, because your energetic body is changing. It can happen to you, that happened to me as well. When I started exploring more energy healing techniques and healing my own wounds and healing my chakras and doing all this work, I realized that I was changing my vibration. And I had a lot of people that I knew that before I used to always hang out with these people, and then suddenly I was not anymore. And that's not good or bad or nothing. This is just because you learn and you experience everything that you had to, and then for whatever reason you started changing. And if everyone is not changing with you, then naturally you're just going to go into a different path, and that's totally okay. Another way of understanding is that, imagine if you are like on an escalator, and then everyone is like the same, going at the same pace, and then suddenly someone start going faster, and then so the distance between these people that are here and the other person is going faster, and you think that there's more space between you guys, but in essence it's just that your frequency have changed. Your essence of person, like who you are, is not different. The only difference is that you are now vibing differently, and that's totally okay. So how does energy healing works? Have you ever gone to a session of something like that? Yeah, Sue had one session with me once. So energy healing is really funny, because most people, if you're not used to that, hearing that, and you imagine that an energy healer is someone that has always wearing white clothes and really flowy, and maybe they are like a bit hippie, and they live off the not in the city but maybe in the countryside, and they just a bit wild for whatever reason. It's like this stereotype that people have in their minds. But it's not. Basically, energy healing is just understanding that we are not only bodies or people, but there's a lot more to it than just that. It's like another realm. When you start discovering that there's like a different reality, it's almost like you start perceiving everything in a different way. When you start attuning to different frequencies and you understand why people act this way or that way, you understand that, oh, this is not, doesn't belong to this person. It belongs to the place that this person went, or it belongs to the job that he had to do, or it's stress talking. So you start understanding that it's just the layers of society and culture that are on top of the person. It's not the real person, because if you think about the people that you talk every day, like your family, friends, partners, they are on your side. They are always in your team, right? There are a lot of people that love you, people that understand you. So when, for whatever reason, they are different, they're stressed, or they are under pressure, or something happened in their day, and they just become not themselves, you know, you are perceiving that the energy field is not balanced, it's imbalanced, something happened. So that's when, you know, if you go back to the very first workshop that we spoke about the mind, and how when you understand that this person is just being driven by the mind, you can see the person with compassionate eyes, because you understand that it's just the energy that has shifted for whatever reason. But the essence, the good person, the person that you love, the person that you hang out and you enjoy to be with, is still there. It's just because something happened that changed the vibration for that moment or for that day. So when you start working with energy, you are able to identify that and not let the mind tell you, oh, this person is being mean to me. This person is making me feel really bad. No, because you know that this person is not a bad person. It's not doing something bad. You are able to identify that it's not about you. It's about them and what happened to them. So you can detach to the situation. So an energy healer will be someone that can receive the person by talking to the person, will perceive the energy or whatever is not right, and then work with that to release whatever block or belief system or anything that is just being heavy on them. If we talk, for example, about Reiki, which is something that it was the very first energetic modality that I learned. That was back in 2016. I learned Reiki. I didn't even know what it was. I remember that I was always super curious about it. I was always watching videos about energy, about the universe, about things that they were like mysterious. It's just, I always been into that stuff. But then life happens, and then you get distracted and you live your life, and then that's like, oh, that's something that I do when I have time off or when I have time to do it, and then you just leave it on the side. And then I remember it was actually when I moved to Australia that I didn't know anyone, and I had free time when I was going to school, because it was like 45 minutes on the train. I started reading books. I started listening to I don't even know if there were podcasts, the word was podcast, but anyway, I was listening to different, like Deepak Chopra or like Eckhart Tolle, which are people that they have been doing work about consciousness for years. And so my mind started opening up, and I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I quite resonate with that. I quite like it. And then when I was at work, in 1 week, 2 people told me that they were Reiki practitioners. And so the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, yeah, I've read about that. Okay, cool. And then I remember a few days later, there was a guy that told me that he was a Reiki master teacher. And I was like, wow, that was the same thing that the other person said. And then I changed. I was a freelancer back then, so I changed jobs. And then the other person that was sitting next to me told me the same. So back then I was like already getting into, like listen to the sign that life sends you. And I was like, this is something. So I just look online, found a class, and I just joined the class. I'm really like, when something for me calls me and I'm curious, I just jump in the pool straight away. I don't think much about it. I just like go. Later, I learned that when you do those type of things, it's because your intuition, your solar plexus that is here, your energy is telling you what to do. Your body is telling you what to do. The issue is that when you think too much and you let your mind drive the situation, then the mind is going to tell you, oh no, but that's weird. Oh no, what are people going to say? Or what is your husband or your wife is going to say? I've never done it. I'm not good at it. I can't do it. It's like, this is all the mind, all the stories telling you that. But if you, within you, you say, you perceive that, no, this is something that I want to do, it's always a choice. You can always choose, okay, I'll do it or I won't. If you think too much, it's your mind getting in the way. It's straight away. Just like, we just thought about it too much. So then I did Reiki, I learned Reiki, and then over the years I became a Reiki master teacher, but that took a while. Reiki, for if you're not familiar what is that, is it passes, it's like a lineage of healers. So it was channeled by someone in Japan. This is like, they actually don't know exactly when Reiki started. Apparently it's been around for centuries, and it's been a lineage from in Japan. I can't remember the name of the city, but anyway, so what happened is that you get attuned to the energy of Reiki. Reiki is a Japanese word that is made of actually two words. Ki, it means universe, and Rei is energy. So it's actually the universal life force that it's around us. So basically, as I spoke at the beginning, is like, this is fear that we have, the energy field around our body. So Reiki, when you work with Reiki energy, you're actually working with the energy field of the whole earth, the planet. So everything that is around us, but we cannot see, but only perceive. So when someone comes if you go to a Reiki session, basically the practitioner is someone that have been attuned to the energy. And that is basically that a Reiki master teacher has passed this energy to you, and then through your hands. And then you, if you become a Reiki master teacher, then you can pass that same energy to someone else. It's almost like getting activated, if you want to make it like simpler. And it goes through your hands. So basically, when you become a Reiki practitioner or a master, if you want to study the whole 3 or 4 levels, you become a channel of energy. So when you go to a session, you remove your shoes, the practitioner will be standing. And when you tune into the Reiki energy, you ask for it to get activated with these symbols that we learn. And then you draw them in the hands and in the air. And those symbols, which are Japanese, they're basically activating the energy for start flowing through the earth, so the ground, because the practitioner will be standing with no shoes. It goes through the person and go through the hands and to the client. A lot of people ask me, oh, but is it bad because you're using your own energy? I remember my mom used to say that all the time. She was like, oh, but be careful because, it's like you're giving your energy. And I was like, no, that's not the way it works. So it was because this is a belief system. This is what she thinks. And if the person doesn't know, you have to explain them and they understand. So a Reiki practitioner will never use their own energy. It will never keep someone else's energy, because you become almost like bamboo whole. The energy just passes through you and through your hands. The energy usually feels really hot. It can create like tingles in the body. It can feel like a magnet as well. And another question that I usually get is like, oh, am I able to learn Reiki? Because people think that they need to be born like a healer, or you have to have like this special talent to be able to be a Reiki practitioner or learn it. And that's basically a mistake. Everyone is able to do it because everyone has the same. Everyone has an energy field. Everyone has energy centers. The only difference is that choosing to learn it, the technique, getting attuned to the energy, and just do it by intention. Reiki energies also always work for the highest good of all, and is unconditional love. So a question that sometimes I get asked is like, oh, is it possible that someone send you bad energy? And it's not possible, because Reiki is attuned to unconditional love. So that's the highest vibration that exists in life, in the universe. So you cannot, even if you wanted to send something that is not high vibration, it would just wouldn't work. It wouldn't get it activated, because that's not what it is. This is healing energy. And so what it does is that when the practitioner places the hands in the person, it's almost like if you imagine like a vacuum cleaner, and they just go shh, and removes all the whatever stressors, whatever blockages. It helps your energy center to start flowing. It balances your energy centers as well. So by the time the session finishes, it's usually like, it could be like 30 to an hour, usually an hour. The person reports that it feels extremely relaxed. It feels that light. It feels energized. And it's also very good if someone is going to the doctor for a specific illness or something. Reiki energy is many times recommended as an alternative therapy, because when you go to hospitals, when you treat with you're dealing with heaviness, which is being sick or have an illness, and naturally the person energy field will shrunk, because it's something that is not so happy, right? And so when you do in Reiki, you working with that energy, so then the energy feeling start increasing again instead of contracting. So that's Reiki. A very easy exercise if you want to ever perceive energy, because everyone is able to do it. There's no way that someone could say, oh, I'm not feeling anything, or I just cannot do it. Maybe you don't feel it because your mind is telling you you cannot do it, or you have grown in a culture, in a city, or in a family that no one ever had a relationship with those concepts. So you didn't grow up with that. Energy is not a dogma, is not religion, is not a god that you have to follow. It's nothing like that. Energy is almost like saying, oh, there's a sun and there's the moon. It's just a fact. It's just there, exists, because it is. You cannot say, oh, I believe in the sun, or I believe in the moon, because even if you didn't believe in those as gods, they're still there. They are always there. So energy is like that. It's always there. You either believe it or not, it's still there. Even sometimes it's better when the person does not believe in that, because it works better, because the person doesn't have point of views about it. They don't say, oh, last time I went to this practitioner here and it worked this way, so if next time I don't feel that, so it's not working. It's not like that. Sometimes it's better to just not have any idea and just go with the flow and just say, okay, I have no idea what's going to happen. Let's just go and feel it, perceive it. Because we spoke last week that it's about perceiving, it's about connecting with the senses, what you can smell and what you hear and you perceive with your skin. So that's how energy works. You perceive the environment. If you go to, I don't know if it ever happened to you, you go to a place, sometimes museums feel really heavy, at least for me. Every time that I go to a museum, I end up with a massive headache, because it's just so much old artifacts, a lot of people. They are huge and enclosed spaces. So usually the energy cannot flow because it just stays there. And until someone goes and decides to clear it, it would just stay there forever, basically. It just keeps accumulating. Another energy healing technique, it's access consciousness, which is one of I'm a facilitator of access consciousness. This is a completely different technique from Reiki. Reiki is unconditional love, is an energy that comes from the ether, so the planet, the universal energy that makes us be alive. And so access is just a pragmatic tool. So it's you working with energy, but it's not in the sense of Reiki. Access is more pragmatic. It's basically a tool that you learn. You go to a class, it's a 1-day class, you learn it, and then you can straight away do it. And the way it works is that it works with the electromagnetic charge that lives within your body. So what do I mean by that? Is that while Reiki, you clearing the energy of the body in general to give like unconditional love and just universal vital energy. With access, what you do is like the session, it's the person will touch the head, different points. And when you do that, you basically releasing a charge that lives in your mind. So if you have belief systems about, for example, just making it up, like money, you have a point of views about money. Why? Because in your family, everyone believes that you have to work really hard to make money, or you have to, have a corporate job to make money, or you have to work only in these specific industries to make money. And so those are called belief systems. We learn them through family, through school, through society. And so sometimes people come to see me and they say, oh, I have these issues with money that I feel like it's always hard. I have to work really hard. I'm not working right now. I'm not working hard. So I feel that I'm not making any money. So that's a belief system. So when you work with access consciousness, touching the bars, which is one of the modalities called the access bars, you touch the head, you're releasing the charge of those belief systems, of those point of views, thoughts, emotions, feelings that are attached to the belief systems. Because everything that we believe on, for example, touching on this witch stuff, you believe, if someone could believe that, oh, that's strange and bad, I don't want to do it. That's a belief system that is attached to an emotion. For example, oh, I don't want to see it because it makes me feel scared, or because it's unknown, or because it's mysterious, and that generates fear in me. So that's the emotion attached to the belief system. If you're talking about money, you can have the emotion of like scarcity, that you don't have things, or that everything is super hard, and that everything is an effort, and everything makes you feel tired. So those are emotions and feelings that are attached to a belief system about money. So just like that, we could be anything, could be body image. For example, a lot of people say, oh, I cannot go to these places, or I cannot go to a vacation. Why? Oh, because I don't feel comfortable. Why? Because I don't think my body is the way it should be, or because I feel embarrassed or ashamed, or all those emotions that are attached to the belief system that you cannot go to the beach for whatever reason. So the access bar works with the energy of those emotions, of those feelings that are related to a belief system. So that's the difference between the two techniques. Sometimes has happened that people come see me to work with Reiki energy. And then when we start talking about what's your intention for the session, they start talking about belief systems or blockages, or feeling that something is holding them back, that they cannot be themselves. And then sometimes I should just, well, this other technique that is more pragmatic, that maybe is what you want to try. So a lot of people try it because they want, they just want something that is pragmatic and it gets done really quickly, and it works. It works in me. It was 3 years ago when I learned access consciousness. Again, I found it on social media. I was listening to one girl that I follow, and she was talking about access, and something in that energy. I was already working with energy, and I perceived that it was very expansive. It was very open, and she was always talking about possibilities and abundance and all that. So when I listened to that, something in me was like, I'm really curious, I want to learn. So I messaged her, she told me where to go to this website. So I went to the website, found a class in my city, and I joined the class. And 1 week later, I was a practitioner because I just jumped straight away and I learned the technique. And then over time, I did more classes, and then I became a facilitator. And now I facilitate classes for people that want to learn the technique. So that's what I mean. For example, that's an example of following the energy, not allowing my mind to tell me, oh, no, this is strange. You never heard about it. You just follow what your body is telling you what to do. And this is not only for energy, it could be for anything, a trip, going to some place, doing some art, changing jobs. You just perceive the energy. If you're attuned with that and you start practicing, like perceiving your senses and your energy field, how does that work? And then you're just going to be more aware. And awareness is something that many think that that's not possible for them. It's like, oh, I have no idea what that is. And that's basically just being a bit more conscious about your what you do in your everyday life. So if you start listening to your, not so much to your mind, but just to what your body wants, if you start thinking about like the perception, and instead of always thinking about doing things, that's the mind telling us we need to produce, we need to do, we cannot not do anything. So then if you start leaving that on the side, so then you are able to reconnect with your body, you're able to reconnect with your senses, you're able to perceive the energy, and that is basically is to be more aware of your surroundings. It's like when you see these parents that they observe the child and they can predict what's going to happen. That's basically awareness with the physical world, because you can see it. Awareness with the energy is just you just perceive before you can see. It's like you call your mom, or you feel something and then you just need to call for whatever reason. And sometimes it's true, sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. But that is a great example of how when you start perceiving, you become more aware and your consciousness start increasing, because you are not letting your mind to drive you all the time. I wanted to tell you about a way that you can actually perceive energy right now. So you basically can just start doing this with your hands. If you start clapping, and just do it until you start feeling like the tingling, and then you stop and just put your hands like this, just a space, and you will feel that there's like a magnet. You try to touch them, and it feels like you have like when you hold two magnets together, and then it feels like there's something there. Can you perceive that? If you haven't, just clap more strong. And then when they start like, this little tingling, just put them close to each other. And then you will perceive, it feels like your hands have magnets, and they feel like, oh, it's like, yeah, it feels like you were holding two magnets that they just move like this, right? So that's basically energy. What you're doing is like by shaking your body and shaking your hand, you are moving the molecules around you. And so they are reacting within each other. So this is your body, your one hand and the other hand, but this is how it works with another body. So you start perceiving the energy. So when I do Reiki and people perceive in different ways, that it feels like a magnet sometimes. You move your hands and there's like a magnet, and then you move, and then sometimes it's tickling, or sometimes it feels like a burning sensation. There's no like a defined thing. Like sometimes when you learn techniques, if your teacher tells you, oh, it can feel this way or that way, and then you don't feel anything, you're like, okay, it doesn't work, I cannot do it. straight away you just already saying, I'm not able to. But this is because we are all unique. So how my body perceives energy, it will be different to the way you guys perceive energy. It will never be the same. Maybe it could be similar to, oh yeah, that person perceived it that way as well. But many times it will be your own thing. You will learn how to, your body reacts to energy. So that exercise is it's a great way to understand that everything is energy. Everything around us, it has an electromagnetic charge. Everything has light within as well. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, everything is made of the same. It's just because to the naked eye it looks different. Another part of access consciousness, and this is what I do at the beginning of each workshop, that is called the verbal facilitation, is working with energy, but instead of using my hands and put it in a person, is just using my vibration, my voice. But it's not that my voice needs to be in a specific way. What I mean is that by asking questions to the energy, open questions, we are able to start sharing layers of belief systems. For example, in access consciousness, as the name states, you are accessing your own consciousness. So when you verbal facilitate a person, which is basically like a conversation, you just talk to someone and they come to you with I don't know, they just want to work on like today I had a great example. I have a friend that she's a photographer, and she was saying that a lot of her clients don't like to, they want to get photos taken, but they don't like how they look in front of the camera. So they put it on the side. They're like, oh, I don't want to, I need photos, but I don't like to people to take photos of me because I always look ugly or big, or my body is not right, or I don't look the way I think I should. So those are belief systems that are telling you that your body should be this way and your hair should be this way. And if you don't look this way in a photo, so then it's not approved. Why? Because you have expectations. You expect photos to be this way. And you have a story in your mind that tells you that, oh, this photo needs to be this way, so everyone likes it. If you don't look this way, no one will like it. Those are expectations linked to a belief system. Those are also judgments of ourselves, of this person. If you say, oh no, I don't look good, I don't think I look good, what you're doing is you're basically judging yourself, because you are not according to the expectation that you have from you, from your partner, from society, from whatever. So if you work with energetic facilitation, you can start working with the root cause from the energy point of view of those belief systems. So you can ask questions like, is that belief system come from you, or you learn it somewhere else? So when the person start asking questions, many times it doesn't come from the person. It comes from, because, I don't know, I'm just making it up, but when they were in year 3, someone told them that this photo looked horrible. And from that day onwards, they think that if they take a photo with this angle, they look horrible. This is a belief system. Or you think that if you know wearing, a lot of people, if you know wearing lipstick, you don't look good. Or if you don't wear mascara, you don't look good. And these are also belief systems that have been created because of society, because society tells us every day in advertisement, in media, in movies, in anything, that especially for women, you have to look this way because of the expectations of society. If you don't look this way, so it's bad, or you're not approved, or you're ugly, or whatever label you want to put. So if I'm doing a verbal facilitation, I will be asking questions to open the energy and get rid of that. Like I was saying at the beginning of the class, what projections, expectations, programming, limitations you have, using this example about not being able to perform in front of the camera. Is that yours, everything that that is, will you be able to, are you willing to destroy and then create all those belief systems? Usually the person will say yes if they are ready to let it go. Because when you work with energy, you have to always go with the intention of the person. If the person is on board and they want to say yes, so then we can clear the energy. But if they are not ready, so they are not ready. You cannot do it. The energy wouldn't work if you go against or behind someone else's back. And then I say the clear statement: right, wrong, good and bad, pot and poke, all night short, both, both, and beyonds. That's the clear statement of access consciousness. And then you clear that. And then if some other energy comes up, oh, I remember my parents never took photos of me, so I thought I was not worthy of photos. So then the energy is like, okay, worthiness, about body image, about love of parents. So then you start asking questions about that. Where is that coming from? Is it childhood? Is it teenage years? Is it and then you start diving into these belief systems. And so every time that someone comes from the unconscious mind to the conscious mind, and then we clear it with a clear statement. Something else comes up. I ask a question, was that your dad? Yes, my dad said so and so when I was a kid, and I just always believed it. Okay, so that was not you, it was your dad belief system. So would you like to destroy and create that right now? Yes. And then again, clear the energy. And so you start going deeper and deeper and deeper to find the energetic charge of the belief system. And so that's the way the energy facilitation works. I think it's a very powerful tool because it's very simple. You just need to ask the questions, open the energy, and then get rid of the energy with the clear statement. It's really good. If you have ever the opportunity to try it, I really recommend it. I also do it on virtual sessions if you ever want to try it. So that's the energetic facilitations. The other techniques like theta healing, I don't particularly know that technique. I know people that do it. That's basically going into trance in a meditation, and theta waves is when your brain is really deep in meditation, and that basically the healing happens there because your mind, the thinking mind, is sleeping, and the theta waves are the conscious. Basically you're talking to the consciousness directly. That's also another powerful technique, is hypnosis, because again, the mind is not driving the show. What you're talking is to the consciousness and to the body. So that's why it works really well for people that are like they have panic to like the ocean, or fear of heights, or birds, things that are like, things that are not allowing them to be themselves, and they want to get rid of whatever happened to them. So then usually in hypnosis session, they will go back in time to find where was the origin of that fear. If you want to go a bit more mystic, you go into like, well, that was not from this lifetime, that was from your grandma, and then it just passed on to your mom and then to you. Sometimes it goes way back behind before that time. So, but that's up to you if you want to explore those things, and that's just too out there. But I'm just telling you because, just for you to know, and it's fascinating. Yeah. Now, something that I wanted to show you is, and this is the witchy stuff that I really like, and I will show you some objects, and you tell me if you've seen them before in movies or whatever, or places around. So I got a feather. This is a raven feather, just a dry leaf, any leaf. I've got a seashell. This is I don't know what would you call this? Just a seashell, that's right? This is a pine cone, a rock. So all these elements. This is a dry plant, cinnamon stick, and this is Palo Santo, which is a wood from South America. So all these elements are part of an altar. And why these are part of an altar? Because these are nature. If you remember what I've shown you, this is the ocean. This is earth. This is a plant. This is a stone, a mountain. This is also earth, a plant, another one. This is a dry leaf, which is also nature. And this is an animal. I mean, it used to be, but now it's not anymore. But this is also the representation of the wind, because you can move it. Same with this. So basically, when you have elements, have you ever seen people that have these things? Or maybe you have them at your place. You have seashells and you have, pieces and rocks and feathers, beautiful feathers. Sometimes you're traveling and you find these unusual feathers and they're like, oh my God, these are so pretty. I want to keep them. A lot of people put them like in jars, like if they were flowers or something like that. So without you even knowing, you are honoring nature by having these elements, because this is part of who we are. And if you're interested in that, you can watch the previous workshop when I spoke about the element within us. I'm just going to go through that really quickly, which is we have a water element in us because we cry, we have, we are able to sweat and we have tears and we have blood circulating through our bodies that look like rivers. So this is the ocean, the water element within us. And then we have the air, which is when we're breathing. This is the air element represented by a leaf and a feather. And then you have the earth element that is representative of the body, the physical body, that it's solid, and this is the avatar where our consciousness lives, our soul. And then finally we have the element of fire. That is when I burn this plant, and I'm going to go into how to clear spaces now. If I burn this plant, this is called the fire element, which is within us. And you say, how is the fire within us? And it's just the fact that we are alive. How do you think our heart can, just move and be alive since the minute that we are conceived? That's the energy that made us be alive. This is our soul that made us walk to the corner and think and move and talk to you. This is the fire element. This is the energy. So when you are using the elements to clear a space, or actually, no, I will say it in a different way. When you clear a space with the elements, you are honoring Mother Earth and you're honoring your body. Because so what you do is you use, usually if you go to crystal shop and you ask for like, oh, I want the elements to clear my place, you will see that they sell these things. Mine is small, you can find them really big. And usually you will find that these come with that and a feather. And a lot of people don't know what to do with it, with things, because it's like, why they send me all these things? And it's just because they are telling you to use the elements. So what you do is that you use the seashell. It doesn't have to be a seashell. You can use like a ceramic bowl if you don't have it. I mean, I used a ceramic bowl for years until I finally got one of these. And then you burn with the fire element a plant, which is the representation of your body. And then you use the feather to move the smoke, to clear a space. So if you see videos of people or people that they're called witches doing this, is because they're using the elements of nature, which is the elements that live within you, to clear a space. It could be a house, your bedroom, yourself. A lot of shamans, they use smoke, tobacco, sacred tobacco, not smoke like that you sell, you can buy on the street, but this is like mapacho, which is the sacred tobacco, and they just basically blow smoke. And this is because they are using the smoke element and the fire element to clear spaces. And if you ever want to try it, the only thing that you have to do is just, burn it a little bit when they start smoking, and you just do this movement like towards the space. And why? Because you're trying to clear the energy towards the open space. So if you have you always open your windows, all the doors, all the windows. If you have wardrobes and you want smoke and clear all the energy, you just go through every single corner in your home, and then you just do that. You start with your body first, because you're the healer, you're healing the energy, and you clear yourself, and you start walking to each of the rooms, and you just throw some smoke, and that's basically it. It's very simple. A lot of people think that, oh, this is like bad, or is witch, and is strange, and this is just a belief system, and everything that is, I would like to destroy and create that, if you're willing to. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and poke, all night short, both poets and beyonds. All these elements that I have shown you, I have them in my own altar, together with photos of believe I have angels, I have Mother Mary, I have elements from the Andean cosmovision in Peru. Why? Because to me everything is the same. To me, doesn't mean that because it's a Mother Mary or Isis from the Egyptian culture, or because these are stones and nature is different and separated. Everything is the same. The only separations that exist within this world is because at some point in history, people started labeling things, and they label this group of people as religion, and these other people, they are Christians, agnostic, and Jews, and witch, and I don't know, just all these different labels. That was the only thing that created separation between all the rituals. But if you go back to ancient civilizations like the Incas and the Mayans and all these people, they have been using elements since the beginning of times. If you are in Australia, Aboriginals, the gods were like the earth and the river and the sky and the stars. It's because they understood that those elements are themselves, they are within. As there's something called the patriarchy that I mentioned before, that created specific things and specific dogmas and specific rules, saying that this is right, this rule is correct, but if you don't follow these rules, so then you're incorrect and you're bad. So this is just a belief system. Again, there was a point in time where a lot of people started believing one thing, and they created a belief system. Because the way a belief system works is that if you are the only one saying something and no one else shares your opinion, it's only you. The moment that someone else believes the same idea, and then a group of people or families or a tribe or a city, that becomes a belief system, a systematic something that it just becomes huge, and then everyone else start following that. We have grown in a society that people don't really question anything. You just go with whatever your parents told you, or society told you to do, or the TV told you to do. There's always an agenda most of the time. Again, you believe what you think. This is just information. But the purpose of these workshops is for you to start questioning your life and your reality and the belief systems that you had up until this point, and ask yourself, where did I learn that? Where in my life did I start believing this or thinking that way? And why do I believe in this way, right? And these are just belief systems. Is no one right or wrong. It's not that our parents were incorrect because they told us that way. No, because for them, that was their belief system. It's right. For them, it was right. It was correct. And then they will pass on to the next generation. And then someone, like we talked about the workshop number 2, there will be a cycle breaker that will start questioning things and say, well, I want to have an altar that have a rock there. Why? Because that's what I believe. Because your parents believe in something and then you believe in something different doesn't mean that you're not respecting them or telling them that they are wrong. You're basically just going to your own, you now have your own mind and you can discern in between, okay, this is what they told me, but now today I choose to learn, or I choose to find out more information. One last thing about the elements is that I wanted to touch, that I was not going to mention it, but I thought it would be useful. One of the elements that I show you, it was a rock. And if you see, we have so many rocks in our place because we just, every time that we travel, we collect rocks and we like them. They're so beautiful and special. And rocks are the oldest elements in the planet. Some of them come even from out of space, and they came to this world as a meteorite, and then it may become crystals. And those are basically rocks as well. They are just really pretty because they have colors and all that. But I wanted to touch on some of the crystals and what they are for. And it's like the basic view, want to know just a little bit of them. Do you have any crystals at home currently? Do you believe on that? I mean, you don't have to really believe. I'm just going to show you. If you ever have been to a museum and you have seen Egyptian artifacts on jewelry, Inca jewelry, or Mayans, and all those, they usually have blue stones, which is this one. It's called turquoise. Why? Because turquoise is considered a healing stone. It's considered a stone that neutralizes bad energy, and it's also related to abundance. So that's why many people like to wear turquoise, because they want to attract good energy, they want to attract abundance. I have my ring that is turquoise. That's why when you go to museums and they are like all the kings and the emperors and all of them, they had turquoise because it's the stone that carries the abundance energy. Another one that is very cool, if you ever want to go find your first crystal, this is very popular, is rose quartz. This is pretty big. You can find it really small. It doesn't really matter if it's big or not. This is like, I just liked it. And rose quartz is related to love. If you are single or you would like to find a partner, a lot of people carry that with them because it attracts love and good vibes and good energy, the love frequency. So that's pink quartz. Then there's like the transparent one, which is a quartz as well. And this is used for healing, for neutralizing energy. A lot of healers, if you go see them, they usually have transparent crystals just because they are like neutralizer of the energy. A lot of people come and go, so they like to have some help from crystals. So you can you will see them in like shops, or you recognize it straight away when someone believes or have this alternative lifestyle, because you see them wearing them and they have them with them. So it's like, oh, okay. It's really funny when you start perceiving those little details. This one is really cute. I don't know if you can see it, but it shines so beautiful. It's called labradorite, and this is the stone of transformation. Is basically, if you are ready to let go of things, you want to transform your life, you want to move from this way that you used to live to a different way, you're changing your lifestyle. Labradorite is a good stone to wear or to have around. And then I have last three. I'm just conscious of the time. These three are really good. So this one is from Peru. I was born in Peru, so I'm very proud of this one. It's called Pyrat, or in Spanish, Pirita. It's silver and it's abundance. It's basically, you put it next to your door at home because it's welcoming good vibes and abundance and money and success and all that stuff. So that's pyrite. Then you have amethyst. This is very common. It's like everywhere. And it helps you sleep well and clear the energy. So a lot of people have them like in the side table because it helps to have calm sleep and just to have like a restful night and to help you to rest your body. They're also really pretty if you can find like big pieces. Where they are close to the sun, they are like so pretty, beautiful. And lastly, the black stones. There are two that I can recommend. This is called obsidian. It's a Mexican stone. And then there's another one that that my mom gave me actually, that I wear. It's really big. This one is called what is it called? I forgot. It will come back to me. I'll put it in the message. But any black stone, it's for protection. So you will see people wear black bracelets. Yeah, I have my black bracelet. So just like little ones. And they are just protection for bad energies, for life, for your health. They are really popular. You find them everywhere. And they are basically black stones. It could be obsidian, which is this one that is really shiny. The one that I just showed you, that is called, oh my God, I completely blank on that. That is also for protection. And there's a third one that's called hematite. And hematite, it's for also protection. They are black, but they are more like silvery. They are almost look metallic. And it's funny because you see a lot of guys that wear the black stone just because, you know, they are black and more like not so colorful like the other stone, but it's just like something little. So yeah, so that was about the stones. I just show you like the basic ones, and why is in, you know, they carry energy basically because these stones have been around since the beginning of times of this planet. So they carry the energy of nature. And that's why it's special when you have stones or rocks at home. You're just honoring Mother Earth basically by having elements of nature at home. A lot of us, we don't realize that we have little altars in our places, but you will see if you look around your place and you find any corner that you have some nature elements, or maybe a photo or a little statue. I'm not talking about religious statues of any of that. It could be like a token or something that you bought in a trip, but you just have like, we tend to create like little corners of beautiful elements. Everything that it looks like that, that's an altar. That's basically, you are honoring beauty. You are creating that because you're honoring a piece that you bought, or a piece of wood, or a piece of nature. So without even thinking, you are creating beautiful little altars here and there that are dedicated to different things. Maybe you have an altar, is you travel to I don't know, Japan, and then you create a little altar that it's about the Japanese culture because you love it. Or maybe in my case, I have Peruvian stuff because, you know, I love my culture. So I have little corners that have Peruvian elements. So that's my little Peruvian altar. Or you might have like one that is full of crystals. So that's your altar for your crystals. So it doesn't have, an altar doesn't have to be related to religion. We have learned that everything that is an altar needs to have like, you know, a religious deity or a photo with specific elements. And it's not only that, altars are everywhere around us. I just wanted to clear that. Just for demystify the word altar, because sometimes it feels like something really big and something like really important. It doesn't have to. It could be like 3 elements in the corner, and that would still be an altar. All right, I went over 5 minutes. Do you have any questions? If not, we might wrap up, and you can message me on the WhatsApp group or direct and ask me any questions. I might send the name of the stone that I completely forgot. But other than that, do you have any question?
No, that was all good.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. And then, okay, so I'll share the recording anyway. And also next week, we're going to talk about the cosmic mother, Mother Earth. Pachamama, like we call it in Peru. So that will be really interesting as well. Okay, thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.